Hello Golden State Warriors fans, we are here once again to bring you the latest news related to our team, and I would like to emphasize how committed we are to improving our performance to achieve great results. Before we dive into this intriguing news, I kindly request you to show your support by clicking the like button, and if you are not yet subscribed to our channel, I invite you all to join us on an exciting journey. Remember to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything.
No disrespect, Jeff Teague put Stephen Curry ahead of the NBA legend who saved the league. Former NBA player Jeff Teague didn't hold back when sharing his honest take on where Stephen Curry ranks among the greatest point guards of all time. Curry, the Golden State Warriors superstar, has revolutionized the modern NBA with his unmatched shooting ability, particularly from beyond the arc. Along the way, the baby-faced assassin has racked up 4 NBA championships and an impressive collection of individual accolades. While Steph has rightfully earned his place in the all-time conversation, many still place Lakers legend Magic Johnson ahead of him in discussions about the greatest point guards ever. But Jeff Teague isn't one of them. In a recent episode of the Club 520 podcast, Teague made a bold, unapologetic statement. He put Steph ahead of Magic. "I'd take Steph over Magic Johnson," Teague said. "Look, I know Magic and Larry Bird saved the league, I get that. So this isn't about disrespect. Magic made it cool to be a tall point guard. But Steph? Steph changed the game for everyone. He's the greatest point guard of all time." Just a few years ago, most people would have scoffed at the idea of anyone surpassing Magic Johnson. But after Curry led the Warriors to the 2022 NBA title and claimed his first Finals MVP, more fans and analysts have started to view him in a different light. Teague backed up his stance by pointing to Bleacher Report's most recent top 100 NBA players of all time list. On it, Curry was ranked 10th. While Magic landed at No. 4. Teague strongly disagreed with those placements and offered an interesting take on why he thinks they should be flipped. "What Steph's doing at 6 feet 2 inches? That's crazy. Magic was 6 feet 9 inches. He was gonna be effective regardless. He could have even played center if he had to," Teague explained. One of the podcast hosts argued that Magic could probably guard Steph, but that Steph couldn't guard Magic. Teague didn't hesitate. No way. Have you ever watched Magic Johnson move? There's no shot he could keep up with Steph Curry. It's a bold claim, and one that's bound to stir up passionate debate among NBA fans. But one thing's for sure, Jeff Teague isn't afraid to go against the grain, and he's got a compelling case for the new point guard GOAT. Teague's remarks quickly sparked reactions across the NBA community, fueling the already heated debate over who truly deserves the title of the greatest point guard in history. Fans, analysts, and former players weighed in on social media, with some praising Teague's perspective and others defending Magic's legacy. What makes this debate so compelling is how it reflects a larger shift in how basketball greatness is evaluated today. Magic Johnson was the prototype of a versatile physical playmaker in the 1980s. His size and court vision changed the game and helped revive the NBA during a critical period. He was a transformative figure, earning 5 NBA championships and 3 MVP awards. His impact extended beyond stats, inspiring generations with his charisma and leadership. On the other hand, Stephen Curry has redefined the very way basketball is played in the modern era. His unprecedented shooting range and quick release have stretched defenses to their breaking point, changing strategies league-wide. Curry has 4 NBA titles to his name and 2 MVP awards, including the first unanimous MVP in NBA history. His influence is visible not only in his team's success, but also in how young players now emphasize shooting and spacing more than ever. The discussion also touches on how physical attributes shape these players' legacies. As Teague pointed out, Magic's height and versatility made it easier for him to impact the game in various ways, while Curry's game relies more on skill and precision shooting rather than size or physical dominance. This ongoing debate raises interesting questions about how we value different eras and styles of play. Is dominance defined by versatility and physicality, or by innovation and technical skill? Can we fairly compare athletes who played under vastly different conditions and rules? Regardless of where you stand, Jeff Teague's statement reminds us that basketball greatness isn't just about numbers or trophies. It's about the lasting mark a player leaves on the game and how they inspire those who follow. And right now, Steph Curry's influence on basketball culture and strategy is undeniable. As the conversation continues to evolve, one thing is clear: both Magic Johnson and Stephen Curry have left indelible marks on the NBA. The real winner? The sport itself, enriched by legends of all eras pushing the game to new heights. Why Jonathan Kaminga wants a $30 million deal now instead of waiting to become an unrestricted free agent next season. The Golden State Warriors and Jonathan Kaminga find themselves at a crossroads this offseason. When Warriors head coach Steve Kerr decided to remove Kaminga from the rotation right before the 2025 playoffs, it sent shockwaves through both the player and the organization. Naturally, rumors linking Kaminga to other teams have swirled all summer long. But since Kaminga is a restricted free agent, the Warriors hold the power to match any offer sheet he receives, keeping them in control. So, is there any way the Warriors can convince Kaminga to stay? They might be able to, but even if that happens, word is Kaminga could still be gone by the NBA trade deadline. The sticking point? Money. Jonathan Kaminga is reportedly asking for a hefty $30 million per year, while Golden State's offer hovers closer to $20 million. Even if both sides agree to a temporary truce to start the 2025-26 NBA season, a long-term deal would have to be hammered out soon. NBA insider Brett Siegel broke down the situation bluntly. Kaminga's camp wants a big deal, $30 million or more, and they don't want to return to the Warriors. Golden State wants a smaller deal, around $20 million, so they can trade him if needed, because the market isn't there, Siegel shared on X, formerly Twitter. Siegel also pointed out that the Warriors are hesitant to involve Kaminga in trade talks with teams like the Chicago Bulls, who have solid pieces like Ayo Dosunmu. Both sides have valid reasons here. The Warriors want to keep their flexibility and avoid being locked into a big contract they can't move before the trade deadline. Meanwhile, Kaminga sees things differently, and for good reason. Siegel explains why Kaminga is pushing for a bigger payday now. Some believe signing a shorter deal would be best for Kaminga, letting him boost his value next season and then become an unrestricted free agent in 2026. But he's worried. He's not sure he even wants to return. And what if he gets hurt? That's why he wants the money now. Given that Kaminga missed 31 games last season due to an ankle injury, it's no surprise he's hesitant to delay the payday. If he aggravates that injury or suffers another setback before hitting unrestricted free agency, his market value could plummet. At 22 years old, Kaminga's future is still bright, but he's looking to protect himself financially today. And that's why this standoff with Golden State is so intense. The next few weeks will be crucial. Will the Warriors and Kaminga find middle ground? Or will this talented young player be moved elsewhere, chasing the deal and opportunity he believes he deserves? This contract standoff has stirred plenty of speculation around the NBA landscape. For the Warriors, losing Kaminga would be a significant blow to their young core, especially as they look to balance veteran leadership with emerging talent. Kaminga's combination of athleticism, versatility, and defensive potential makes him a prized asset, one they'd rather keep than trade away for scraps. However, from Kaminga's perspective, the risk of waiting for unrestricted free agency, and potentially facing injury or a drop in performance, makes locking in a lucrative deal now a smart move. This kind of financial security at 22 years old isn't just about money, it's about peace of mind in a notoriously uncertain career. The situation also highlights a growing trend in the NBA, where young players are increasingly savvy about managing their careers and financial futures. Gone are the days when players simply accepted team decisions. Today's stars and rising talents know their worth and aren't afraid to negotiate aggressively. Moreover, the ongoing tug-of-war could impact the Warriors' roster construction moving forward. If Golden State can't reach a compromise, they may explore trade options before the deadline to recoup assets, potentially shifting the team's dynamics and championship window. The ripple effects extend beyond just the Warriors and Kaminga. Other NBA teams are watching closely, ready to pounce if a deal or trade opportunity arises. For front offices league-wide, Kaminga's case serves as a reminder that balancing player development, contract negotiations, and long-term team goals is an intricate puzzle. Meanwhile, fans are left to wonder how this saga will unfold. Will Kaminga stay and flourish in Golden State's system? Or will he seek a fresh start elsewhere, aiming to prove his worth on a new stage? One thing is clear, the stakes couldn't be higher for both parties. The next moves in this negotiation will not only define Kaminga's career trajectory, but could also shape the future of the Warriors franchise. As training camp approaches and the NBA trade deadline looms, all eyes will remain on this unfolding story, because it's about much more than just a contract. It's about trust, value, and the delicate balance of ambition and loyalty in today's NBA. As Jonathan Kaminga's free agency drags on, NBA teams are moving on. Time is running out. When NBA free agency opened in 2025, there was no shortage of buzz around restricted free agent Jonathan Kaminga. Teams were intrigued, rightfully so, by his athleticism, untapped potential, and flashes of brilliance with the Golden State Warriors. But now, as we approach the final stretch of July, Kaminga remains unsigned. And more concerning? The noise around his name has gone almost completely silent. Across the league, rosters are filling up. Teams that were initially seen as strong suitors have made moves elsewhere, perhaps signaling that their interest in Kaminga has cooled, or worse, that they've already filled the role they once envisioned for him. Two teams stood out early, the Washington Wizards and the Miami Heat. But since then, the Wizards traded for Cam Whitmore, and the Heat brought in Norman Powell. Neither move is an exact replacement for Kaminga, but both fill a similar archetype. Like Kaminga, Whitmore is a high-upside former first-round pick, athletic, explosive, and still figuring things out. Powell, on the other hand, offers experience and scoring punch, traits Miami was looking for to bolster their core alongside Wiggins, Harrow, and Adebayo. Meanwhile, other teams that were quietly monitoring the situation are also moving on. The Suns recently jumped into the picture, but after adding Jalen Green, a young high-volume scorer with his own flaws, they may no longer have the cap space or the urgency to pursue Kaminga seriously. The Bulls and Kings have also surfaced in rumors, but neither has made a compelling move, with Sacramento reportedly offering a deal that bordered on insulting. The hard truth? Most of the teams that might have been interested in Kaminga have already filled that void. They've added players who, while maybe not as promising long-term, satisfy their immediate roster needs. At this point, while Kaminga's talent is still admired, the motivation to present a strong offer to Golden State just isn't there anymore. And that leads us to the most likely scenario, Jonathan Kaminga returning to the Warriors for a fifth season in the Bay. Unless something changes dramatically, and soon, it looks like the market has spoken. That potential return to Golden State is more than just a fallback, it's becoming the only viable option left on the table. From the Warriors' perspective, this stalemate may actually work in their favor. They've made it clear they value Kaminga's upside and view him as a core piece of their future, especially with Klay Thompson now in Dallas and Draymond Green entering the twilight of his career. The front office seems committed to a retool-on-the-fly approach, and Kaminga, still just 22 years old, fits that vision perfectly. Still, this free agency silence raises an uncomfortable question. How do league executives really view Kaminga? Publicly, teams have praised his raw ability, defensive versatility, and flashes of scoring talent. But behind the scenes, there's a growing belief that some franchises see him as a high-risk project rather than a surefire investment. Concerns about his decision-making, consistency, and readiness to contribute on a playoff-caliber team may have tempered enthusiasm. And let's not forget the money. As a restricted free agent, any offer sheet would need to be significant enough to both tempt Kaminga and discourage the Warriors from matching it. Most teams simply aren't willing to tie up cap space for a player they aren't 100% sold on, especially this late in the offseason. The media response has been mixed. Some analysts see Kaminga's stagnant market as a reflection of the league's increasingly conservative spending habits, especially on young, unproven talent. Others argue it's a case of teams undervaluing a player who's never had a consistent opportunity to showcase his full skill set in a crowded Golden State rotation. Meanwhile, Warriors fans are watching closely, split between frustration and cautious optimism. Many hoped Kaminga would command a strong market and return with renewed confidence, or net the team a valuable sign-and-trade asset. Others are relieved that the market hasn't driven him out of the Bay, seeing this as a rare win in a chaotic offseason. If a deal is reached soon, expect it to be a shorter-term prove-it contract, likely a 2- or 3-year agreement with performance-based incentives. That would give Kaminga a chance to take on a bigger role in Golden State's evolving system, while keeping long-term flexibility for both sides. But the longer this drags out, the more likely it is that Golden State simply extends the qualifying offer, keeping him on a 1-year deal and delaying a long-term decision until next summer. For now, the waiting game continues. And with each passing day, Jonathan Kaminga's free agency becomes less about what teams are willing to offer, and more about what kind of player he's ready to become. Former Warriors sharpshooter facing harsh reality, overseas may be his only option. It's a tough time for Damen Lee. Once a key role player and NBA champion with the Golden State Warriors, Lee now finds himself in uncertain territory, without a team, without a contract, and with his NBA future hanging by a thread. After 2 injury-plagued seasons in Phoenix, the veteran guard may be forced to look overseas to keep his basketball dream alive. Lee, the brother-in-law of Steph Curry and a familiar face in the Bay Area, played over 200 regular season games for Golden State. Fans still remember his steady presence during the Warriors' 2021-22 title run, where he averaged 20 minutes per game and delivered reliable shooting and energy off the bench. After leaving the Warriors in 2022, Lee signed a 2-year, $5.4 million deal with the Phoenix Suns. And for a moment, it looked like a perfect fit. On opening night, he poured in 11 points in the fourth quarter, including a game winner, to lift Phoenix over the Dallas Mavericks in dramatic fashion. But that high point feels like a lifetime ago. His first season in Phoenix was solid, 8.2 points per game in 20 minutes, and an impressive 44.5% from beyond the arc. It looked like Lee had carved out a meaningful role with a contender. Unfortunately, the following year brought a cruel twist of fate. During 2023 training camp, Lee suffered a torn meniscus, a devastating injury that sidelined him for the entire season. The Suns still showed faith, bringing him back on a 1-year minimum deal. But his comeback was rocky. Lee managed to play just 25 games in 2024-25, averaging only 3.3 points in under 6 minutes per game, and struggling with his shooting touch. Now, at age 32, he finds himself without a team. The Suns are moving in a new direction, making bold roster changes, including trading for former Warrior Kevin Durant and bringing in 3-time All-Star Bradley Beal. Despite 2 roster spots still open, Phoenix appears focused on adding a point guard, not revisiting the idea of another year with Lee. Golden State, too, has open spots, but there's been no serious buzz about a reunion. If anything, the Warriors seem more inclined to pair Steph Curry with his younger brother, Seth, or pursue someone like DeAnthony Melton in free agency. So where does that leave Damen Lee? The truth is hard to ignore. NBA opportunities are drying up fast. Teams are looking for younger legs, more upside, or players with a clean injury history. And while Lee still has the heart, the experience, and the championship pedigree, it may not be enough right now. That doesn't mean it's over. Lee might have to take a step back to move forward, whether that means a stint in the G League to prove he's still got it, or a season overseas to show he can stay healthy and contribute at a high level. He's overcome long odds before, going undrafted, earning his way into a rotation, and becoming a respected veteran. This chapter might be tough, but it's not the end of his story. All it takes is one opportunity. One coach, one team, one situation that gives Damen Lee the chance to remind the basketball world what he can do. And if anyone knows how to fight through adversity, it's him. For Lee, the road ahead is uncertain, but not unfamiliar. His entire basketball journey has been about perseverance. From going undrafted in 2016, bouncing between G League stints, and earning a roster spot with the Warriors, he's never had anything handed to him. Every minute he's played in the NBA has been earned through grit, hustle, and unwavering belief. But the league is changing, and fast. With front offices increasingly focused on youth, athleticism, and cost efficiency, veterans like Lee, especially those coming off major injuries, are often pushed to the margins. The 2025 free agent market has been brutal for players in his position. Younger, unproven talent is being prioritized, while experienced role players are left waiting for calls that may never come. And yet, around the league, there's still a level of respect for what Damen brings, a team-first mentality, locker room leadership, and a proven ability to knock down shots under pressure. Coaches know the value of a player like Lee, someone who's not only battle-tested, but who understands his role and stays ready when his number is called. Some insiders believe that a training camp invite could still materialize, possibly with a rebuilding team seeking veteran presence, or a playoff hopeful needing insurance off the bench. But for now, the momentum isn't there. The situation is sparking quiet conversations across NBA circles, and even among fans online, about the increasing fragility of veteran careers. One day you're a key rotation piece on a title team, the next, you're on the outside looking in. The margins have never been tighter. There's also speculation that international teams are already circling. European and Asian leagues are known to seek out former NBA talent, especially guards with Lee's shooting credentials. Countries like Spain, Turkey, and Australia offer competitive salaries, elite competition, and exposure. For Lee, a short stint abroad could serve as both a professional reset and a launchpad back to the NBA. It wouldn't be the first time a player went overseas to reprove himself. Joe Ingles, P.J. Tucker, and even Mike James found new life in international leagues before making impactful returns. For Lee, it could be a similar path: take control of his narrative, build momentum in a new environment, and show NBA teams that he still belongs. Social media has also played a role in keeping his name alive. Warriors fans, in particular, continue to express love and appreciation for what he gave to the franchise. Some are even calling for Golden State to bring him back as a veteran mentor on a young bench. While that seems unlikely given current roster priorities, the outpouring speaks volumes about the lasting impression Lee has made. He's more than just Steph Curry's brother-in-law. He's a fighter, a pro, a champion. And while this chapter might be one of the hardest in his career, it's also an opportunity to rise again, to adapt, and to write a comeback story worthy of the journey he's already taken. Because if history tells us anything, it's that Damen Lee has never been defined by setbacks, only by how he responds to them.